Hello again, everyone. Welcome to Washington Gun Law TV. I am Washington Gun Law President William Kirk. Thanks for joining us. Hey, we're going to spend a few minutes today and talk about New York Attorney General Letitia James. She might actually be in some real trouble. Now, if we go back in our time machine, we will recall that Ms. James came into office on a pledge that one way or the other, she was going to find something on Donald Trump and get him, then help put together a sham of a case in the efforts to influence an election. Well, Ms. James may turn out to be living proof that those that live in glass houses shouldn't throw too many stones, because as it appears now, the United States Federal Housing Financing Agency has actually referred Ms. James to the Department of Justice for potential criminal investigation. And I got to tell you something, there's a little bit of teeth to this. So today, let's spend a few minutes, let's explain it all so you guys can understand it, and let's talk about, why does Letitia James believe she's above the law? Okay, America, this is what we're talking about today. Listen, I know all the time that there are these stories that pop up. Ooh, so-and-so did this. Ooh, so-and-so is going to get roasted. And literally nothing ever comes of any of these. And this may turn out to be one of those nothing burgers as well. However, I've had an opportunity to take a look at the letter that's going to be the subject of today's video, as well as the exhibits. And I got to tell you something, there's something there. And there's something there because, well, Ms. James basically created all of the evidence against her through fraudulent loan documents. You see, in a letter from William Pulte, who is director of the United States Federal Housing Finance Agency, to Attorney General Pam Bondi and Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, they are accusing Ms. James of significant, and I do mean significant, and multiple incidents of malfeasance, fraudulent behavior, which could significantly land Ms. James in a lot of trouble. In the course of exercising U.S. federal housing's authority under the Federal Housing Enterprises Financial Safety and Soundness Act of 1992, U.S. federal housing has identified matters that are appropriate for referral to the U.S. Department of Justice for consideration of criminal prosecution. Based on media reports, Ms. Letitia James has, in multiple instances, falsified bank documents and property records to acquire government-backed assistance and loans and more favorable loan terms. This has potentially included 1. Falsifying residence status for a Norfolk, Virginia-based home in order to secure a lower mortgage rate, and 2. Misrepresenting property descriptions to meet stringent requirements for government-backed loans and government assistance. Wow, those are pretty serious allegations. Now, to understand what we're going to be talking about today, let's just assume a couple of little premises when it comes to lending for property. Okay, number 1, it is much easier to obtain a loan for your primary residence than it is on any type of secondary residence. That is true across the board. If any of you have ever experienced that, you will know that. Secondary residence will always require significant more down payment, and they will oftentimes be financed at a higher interest rate than it is on your primary residence. There are many reasons for that. So, if you're investing in a property that would be a secondary property and doing so, disclosing that it's a secondary property, it's going to cost you a lot more to do that. What happened in this situation is that there's a home in Norfolk, Virginia, a home that Ms. James purchased in 2023. However, just prior to the purchase of that, Ms. James, through one of her attorneys and a power of attorney, had her established as primary residence being in the state of Virginia. The problem, of course, being is that Ms. James was very publicly serving as the Attorney General of the state of New York, and by New York law was required to have residence inside the state of New York. But you see, in order for her to qualify for a government-subsidized Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac loan at a lower interest rate requiring a lower down payment, she would have had to fill out a Form 3047. And this loan document would have required that she certify under penalty of perjury that, in fact, her primary residence was going to be in Virginia. And yet we all know, and as a matter of fact, she kept record of this in the state of New York, that her actual primary residence was her New York address. So the allegations here is that Ms. James lied on federal loan applications to receive lower interest rates and more favorable loan terms. But that's just the first of a few allegations here, because we're going to talk about a second property now located in Brooklyn, New York. Now, in January of 2021, this investment property, which is, I am presuming, since it is an apartment building, was certified to have 5 units. Okay, I want you to understand, it was certified of having 5 units in January of 2001. In February of 2001, however, it was purchased by Miss James. However, when she purchased it and she applied again for a Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac government-backed loan, in this case, a conforming loan, which would have required her to fill out a federal form 3033, she certified, again under penalty of perjury, that the building only had 4 units. Why is that important? Because in order to qualify for a conforming loan, it has to be 4 units or less. However, the building had always been certified with New York as having 5 units. And in this situation, because it's an investment property, she actually probably shaved at least 1 full percentage point off her interest rates, plus significantly again reduced the down payment required. So once again, she is falsifying federal loan documents in order to obtain more favorable loan terms than what she was legally required to get. But it gets worse than that, because you guys also may recall during the housing crisis of 2008 and 2009, the federal government created the Home Assistance Modification Program, HAMP. And this was a program that was designed to keep people out of defaulting on loans. Once again, more favorable terms and other programs available if it has 4 units or less, which once again, Miss James certified that the building only had 4 units when in fact it had 5. So once again, allegation of fraudulent federal loan documents in order to obtain more favorable terms. But then the real kicker comes, and unfortunately it comes kind of late in the letter, but this is a real kicker here, okay? A la kind of Ilhan Omar here. There's also allegations that, for your reference, I have also attached documentation which shows in 1983 that Miss James and her father signed mortgage documents that stated they were husband and wife in order to secure a home mortgage. See Exhibit F. Then on May 4th, 2000, Miss James was listed again as husband and wife in documents. See Exhibit G. While this was a long time ago, it raises serious concerns about the validity of Miss James' representations on mortgage applications. So in 1983, there is a document that says that Miss James was actually married to her father, which again helped her obtain a home loan. Now, that could be a misprint, a typo, some other type of error. But then again, it's reaffirmed in the year 2000, once again claiming on loan documents that she was in fact actually married to her father, again to obtain more favorable loan terms. So what exactly is Mr. Pulte recommending to the Department of Justice? The following. U.S. Federal Housing, FHFA, believes this and other alleged misconduct could be violations of the criminal code under 18 United States Code Section 1343, wire fraud, 18 United States Code Section 1341, mail fraud, 18 United States Code Section 1344, bank fraud, 18 United States Code Section 1014, false statements to a financial institution, and or other relevant state and federal laws. So, does this have the potential to have real teeth? Yeah, it most definitely does, because these are documents that Miss James herself created and signed. And so there is going to be a very clear paper trail that will lead us to whether or not there was criminal activity or not. Now, here's why it could end her career, because even if she never spends a day in jail or even gets convicted of any type of serious crime, is this grounds for the New York State Bar Association to disbar her? It absolutely positively is. It would be grounds in every single state to be disbarred when you are actually engaged in this much fraudulent activity. So I don't know if the walls are going to close in on Miss James. One could only hope so. She brought much of this upon herself by choosing to throw rocks while she lived in a glass house. But is there teeth to this potential criminal investigation? There absolutely is. Listen, we're going to go ahead, link up the letter down below so that you can geek out on it for yourself. You don't have to take our word for it. If you got any questions about this or anything else related to what's left of our Second Amendment rights, you guys should know how to get a hold of Washington gun law by now. But if you don't, that's okay. That information's down there in the description box. If you got an idea for a video we should be doing around here, you click on that link right there and you tell us all about it. If you want to subscribe to the monthly newsletter, the ability to do all of that's down there in the description box. And then finally, and most importantly, let's everyone remember that part of being the lawful and responsible gun owner, like we talk about all the time here, is to know what the law is in every situation, how it applies to you in any instance that you may find yourself. Until next time, thanks for watching. Stay safe.